When tackling a programming task in an exam, it's essential to start by carefully reading the instructions. Make sure you understand it thoroughly. OCR exams often provide helpful steps at the beginning. Please pay close attention to the bullet points because they usually guide you on how to start. Watch out for particular words that tell you what actions to take. For example, the word ask or the word enter means you need information from the user, and you get this using the input function. Seeing the words do it again or the word repeat tells you to use loops, which let you do things multiple times. Words like if or decides indicate that you must choose using if-else statements. Seeing words like display or show or the word return, you should use the print statement to show things on the screen. Highlighting these special words can really help. After you've understood them, plan the steps needed to complete your task. When creating a flowchart for your program, remember it's like a map for coding. It starts with a symbol for the beginning and another for the end. If your task includes getting a 3-letter code from the user, show this step in your flowchart with a parallelogram. In your flowchart, use diamond shapes for decisions or loops. Decisions are like choosing a path at a crossroads, and loops are for repeating actions. When asking for the 3-letter code, your code should look like this. Code equals input. Enter a 3-letter code. This line asks for the code and saves it in a variable named code. Finally, review your flowchart a few times to ensure it's clear and makes sense. It should outline your task's steps, just like a map. Here's how the program works. The code starts a loop, a way to keep doing something until a specific condition is met. In this case, it keeps asking for a 3-character code. It asks the user to enter a 3-character code and waits for the user to type something. After the user enters a code, it checks if it's exactly 3 characters long. It does this using something called if-else statements. If the entered code is 3 characters, the loop stops. This is what breaks means. If it's not 3 characters, it tells the user code must be 3 characters. Please try again. And then it goes back to asking for the code again. Once the user enters a code that's 3 characters long, the code then decides what level to set based on the code entered. If the code is SUVA, it sets the level to 2. If the code is UTV, it sets the level to 3. For any other code, it sets the level to 1. In the end, it shows a message telling the user what level has been set. This is done using the print statement. From past exam papers, we can see that most programming tasks in exams are usually worth around 6 marks each, and there are about 5 such tasks. This means there's a total of 30 marks available for the programming section. So where do these marks come from and what are examiners looking for? Well, we know that every programming task must include input and output. If you use the input function correctly, you'll earn 1 mark. Similarly, you'll also receive 1 mark for correctly handling the output. So paying attention to how you use inputs and outputs in your code to maximize your marks in this area is crucial. A common mistake students make is not assigning a variable before the input function. Assigning a variable means telling the program to remember the user's input information. For example, if you ask for someone's age, your code will look like this. Age equals input. How old are you? In this line, age is the variable, and it stores whatever the user types in. On the other hand, when you use the print function, you don't need to assign a variable. The print function shows the information on the screen. So your code for print might look like this. Print uscore is, in this case, you just display a message and not store any information. Remember, in programming tasks, You can earn 1 mark for correctly using inputs and another mark for correctly using outputs. So it's really important to know how these two functions work. But what about the other marks? Well, most algorithms will require you to make decisions using if-else statements. Using these statements correctly can also earn you a mark. Loops are another critical part of programming. Knowing when and how to use loops is crucial. There are 2 types. For loops used when you know how many times you need to repeat an action, and while loops used when the number of repetitions is not predetermined. Additionally, marks are awarded for using various functions, like the length function, uppercase function, lowercase function, and others. Familiarize yourself with these functions, which are often part of programming tasks. I'll provide a list of functions you might need for your exam. To summarize it, your programming marks will come from correctly using inputs, outputs, if-else statements, loops, and other functions. Ensure you understand how to use these elements in your computer science tasks. It's also essential to pay attention to a few other details. First, ensure you're using indentation correctly. Indentation helps organize your code and shows the structure clearly, which is crucial in the program. Correctly using arithmetic, logic, and comparison operators is essential for full marks. Arithmetic operators are used for mathematical calculations, logic operators for making decisions based on multiple conditions, and comparison operators for comparing values. Correct use of these operators shows that you understand how to manipulate data and make decisions in your program. Going back to the flowchart for your programming task, remember to connect all the symbols with arrows. These arrows are crucial as they illustrate the direction of data flow through your program. Essential is the use of clear labels, such as yes or no when depicting decision points, like those made with if-else statements. This clarity helps in understanding the program's path based on different conditions. If you're uncertain whether to create a Python program or a flowchart, it's often beneficial to do both. You cover all bases by creating a Python script and a flowchart. This approach ensures that you've thought through the task thoroughly and demonstrates a comprehensive range of your skills. Flowcharts visually represent your logic, while the Python code provides a practical implementation of those ideas. They present a complete picture of your problem-solving approach and programming capabilities. Pause the video and answer the question in your exercise books.